Hello everyone, this is our last lesson. We may do more examples on Monday before you guys get started on your final graded assignment, which we'll talk about that at the end of today's lesson. So right now we are going to focus on using the unit circle to find exact values of cosine and sine, and then we're even going to, at the end too, look at tangent theta. So first we're going to state the exact values using the unit circle, then we're going to practice some problems where we put the unit circle away, and then we try to picture them. This is why you need to keep practicing the unit circle. So let's first go ahead and just draw a circle on the x and y axes like this as best you can. If you have something circular that you could trace sitting near you or around your house, you can pause the video to go get that. So one thing we need to remember are quadrants and sines. So pause the video if you still need more time to draw this. But remember, this is quadrant 1, upper left is quadrant 2, lower left is quadrant 3, and bottom right is quadrant 4. Now what I walked you through in yesterday's notes was when we look at an ordered pair on a unit circle, the first number of the ordered pair is cosine of that angle measure, whether it's in degrees or radians, and the second number is going to be the sine of that degree measure or the radian measure. Now, all the ordered pairs in the first quadrant are positive and positive, so that means cosine is going to be positive, and sine of our angle measure is also going to be positive. When we're in quadrant 2, the first number is negative, second number is positive. That's how we move left and up. So this means cosine is going to be negative, but sine of our angle is going to be positive. When we're in the third quadrant, both cosine and sine are negative. So cosine theta, why am I writing positive, is negative, and sine theta is negative. And then in our fourth quadrant, the ordered pair is positive, negative, so this means cosine is positive, and sine of our angle measure is going to be negative. So it's going to be very helpful as we go through these problems. All right, so make sure you have a completed, if it's a handwritten one that you did, make sure it's correct. If not, you can get out a completed, the reference sheet, the completed unit circle. We're going to need that now. So all of our answers need to come from, as long as they're sine and cosine, need to be part of the ordered pairs on the unit circle. So when the directions say find the exact values of each of the following, we're using our unit circle. So remember, cosine is the first number in the ordered pair, sine is the second number. It works out this way because the radius of a unit circle is 1. So what I need you to do is go to cosine, or go to 30 degrees on the unit circle and look at the ordered pair. The ordered pair should be radical 3 over 2 and 1/2. Cosine is the first number, so our answer here is radical 3 over 2. Next, go to 45 degrees. Make sure you're copying the problems down as we go along. So we're looking at sine of 45 degrees. So go to 45 degrees on the unit circle. Write out what the ordered pair is. So hopefully you're looking and you're seeing the ordered pair is radical 2 over 2, radical 2 over 2. So we really can't go wrong, but sine is really the second number. So our answer here is radical 2 over 2. Now, if you were to check these on your calculator, clearly you're going to get decimals here, but this is where you need to know how to transfer back and forth between degrees and radians. So as long as your calculator is in degrees, and this is just a way to check, if you type in cosine of 30, you're probably getting a 0.866 decimal, and that's radical 3 over 2 as its decimal equivalents. But again, we want exact values. We don't just type them into the calculator. That's just a nice way to check. All right, let's go to 90 degrees on our unit circle. That should be the ordered pair 0, 1. Which number do we want? Sine is the second number, so here this answer is 1. You guys pause the video and try the next one. right, so if we're looking at 120 degrees, the ordered pair that we're at is -1/2 radical 3 over 2. Cosine is the first number, so this answer should be a -1/2. All right, so the first four problems, we were looking at sine and cosine of degree measures. Now we're transferring into radian measure. It may take a little bit longer to notice these or find these on the unit circle, but as I mentioned in the video yesterday, this is an easy way to determine which quadrant we're in. So when we're looking at a radian measure and our numerator is 1 larger than our denominator, we're in quadrant 3. So go to look at quadrant 3. The pi over 3 family means we're 60 degrees away from the x-axis. So we should be at the point closest to the y-axis here. And the ordered pair should be a -1/2, negative radical 3 over 2. So we're down there at 240 degrees. Sine is the second number, so we want negative radical 3 over 2. Next is cosine of 3 pi over 2. The pi over 2s are pretty nice. They only show up at the like the poles, like the north and south pole. 3 pi over 2 is down there at 270 degrees. So that's the ordered pair 0, -1. Cosine is the first number here, so that's going to give us 0. I want you guys to try the next two. Find these radian measures on the unit circle. All right, so remember, pi over 4 families show up right in the middle of the quadrant. And because 7 is almost twice as much as 4, we're in the fourth quadrant. That's where the numerators are 1 less than double the denominator. So the ordered pair here, when we're in quadrant 4, this is pi over 4s are the radical 2 over 2s. So we have a positive radical 2 over 2 and then a negative radical 2 over 2. And sine is the second value here, so this turns out to be negative radical 2 over 2. 11 pi over 6 is the same comparison as 7 pi over 4. So we're in the fourth quadrant. Pi over 6 family means we're just 30 degrees below, so that should be equivalent to 330 degrees. And that's going to be the ordered pair of radical 3 over 2, -1/2. Cosine is the first number, so we're looking at radical 3 over 2. So for these first 8, we were using the unit circle. The next set, we're not going to, so I need you to put away the unit circle. We're going to see if we can kind of reason out what the points are going to be based on the location here. And a lot of times this means just making a quick sketch of the unit circle, at least at this angle measure. So for number 1, cosine of 180. So let's make a little unit circle image. When we're at 180 degrees, we're right over here at the left intersection where the circle and the x-axis intersect. So that's a pretty easy ordered pair. This puts us at -1, 0. Pretty easy for 180 degrees. Cosine, again, is the first number, so this should be a -1. Now this will type out real nice on the calculator, but remember, it's a way to check. Next, we're going to look at sine of 270 degrees. We'll make a little sketch. That's another nice axis degree point. So 270 degrees is down there, like at the South Pole. This would be the ordered pair 0, -1. Sine is the second number, so this would give us a -1. Number 3, cosine of 60 degrees. Now remember, from making the degree marks on the unit circle, we know we go up 30, 15, 15, 30, so 60 degrees is right up here. Now the way I always draw this is a special right triangle, so we go over the shorter leg and up the longer leg. So the shorter leg is 1/2. That's smaller than the radical 3 over 2. So here's our ordered pair. Cosine is the first number, so this is going to give us a 1/2. You guys go ahead and try that with 240. First figure out where 240 degrees would be on the unit circle. And try to figure out, without looking, what the ordered pair would be. So 240 degrees is just 30 degrees before 270. So we're going to be right here. Now again, this is the furthest away from the x-axis, so we go over the short leg, down the long leg. They're both negative here, so that's a negative 1/2 is always the short leg, negative radical 3 over 2 is the long leg. Sine is the second number, so this becomes negative radical 3 over 2. So those first four were degree measures. Now we're going to look at radian measures. They're a little bit more challenging. All right, so as we draw our unit circle, this is the pi over 6 family, so this is the 30-degree reference angles. So 5 is 1 less than 6, so that puts us in the second quadrant, and this means we are 30 degrees above the x-axis. Again, I know it's 6 because 30 goes into 186 times, so we are right here, kind of like at 150 degrees, or 5 pi over 6. What is this ordered pair? So this is a special right triangle where we go over the long leg, up the short leg. So since we're going over the longer leg, that's a negative radical 3 over 2 because we're going to the left. Up the shorter leg, which is 1/2. And sine is the second number, so this would equal 1/2. Again, make a sketch for 3 pi over 4. Now remember, pi over 4 is in the middle of the quadrants, but because it's 3 pi over 4, just like 5 was 1 less than 6, when the numerator is 1 less than our denominator, that puts us in the second quadrant. So this puts us right in the middle of the second quadrant. Anytime we're in the middle, this is the radical 2 over 2 ordered pairs. So we're going negative radical 2 over 2 first because we go to the left, and then positive radical 2 over 2 second because we're going up. Cosine is the first number, so this is negative radical 2 over 2. All right, if you guys want to pause the video, you could try the next two. If not, just continue along. All right, so the pi over 3 family, this is 60 degrees reference angles. So we're 60 degrees either above or below the x-axis. So we go to draw our unit circle. Now 4 is 1 larger than 3, so our numerator is 1 larger than our denominator, so this means we're in the third quadrant. And we're 60 degrees away, so that puts us right here at that 240 degrees. So here we're going over the short leg, down the long leg. These are both negative, so we get a negative 1/2, negative radical 3 over 2. Cosine is the first number, so this means this is equal to a negative 1/2. And for our last one like this, cosine of pi over 6. Again, the pi over 6 family is 30 degrees. Since our numerator is 1, that puts us right at 30 degrees. Again, we're going over the long leg, up the short leg. So what ordered pair would that be? What's that longer leg? Radical 3 over 2. What's our short leg? 1/2. So cosine, again, is the first number. This gives us radical 3 over 2. All right, so we did 16 problems altogether, some looking at the unit circle, some not looking at the unit circle, to evaluate sine and cosine, exact values of degree and radian measures. Now I'm going to switch to look at tangent. So tangent isn't directly given to us on the unit circle, but the way to find tangent is we take sine of our angle, so sine theta divided by cosine theta. Because with the unit circle, sine is the opposite side from our central angle, and cosine is adjacent. So that's opposite over adjacent. So all we have to do now with the ordered pairs, whatever the second number is in the ordered pair, we divide it by the first one. Or you could write it this way, sine theta divided by cosine theta, because we're working with fractions. Or it's times the reciprocal of cosine, which we'll eventually get to. But these you definitely need to show your work. Because we're dividing, you need to tell me, you need to show me what you're dividing. So let's look at 4 examples here. And let's try this again without looking at the unit circle. So for each one, we're going to make a sketch. Now we just practiced 180 degrees. Where's that point? should be right over here. What's the ordered pair at that point? -1, 0. So this becomes sine, which is the second number, so we get 0. Now, anytime there's 0 and 1s, I do want to write it this way, 0 over -1, because it's just easier. 0 divided by anything is 0. And if this were the other way around, if we had, I'll just put up here, recall, like a -1 over 0, that's not 0. This is actually undefined. We cannot calculate that. So if you ever find tangent and you have to divide by a 0, you just write the answer is undefined. Okay, let's take a look at 5 pi over 3. Now pi over 3 families are 60 degrees away from the x-axis. Here our numerator is 1 less than double our denominator, so that puts us in quadrant 4. Pi over 3 would put us furthest away from the x-axis, so we're going to mark it right here. This means we go over the short leg, down the long leg. So this is a positive 1/2, and then a negative radical 3 over 2. So in this case, sine is our second number, negative radical 3 over 2, divided by our first number, so this is sine divided by cosine, and then we multiply by the reciprocal. So negative radical 3 over 2 times 2 over 1, 2's divide out, and we're left with negative radical 3. So with tangent, exact values of tangent, we need to show these steps. Okay, let's take a look at tangent of 30 degrees. Since it is a degree measure, it's pretty nice and easy to plot. So here's 30 degrees. What would the ordered pair be here? I think we go over the longer leg, up the shorter leg. So longer leg is radical 3 over 2, shorter leg is 1/2. Remember, the only point, and we could even practice an extra one here, the only point that ever has the radical 2 over 2's is the one right in the middle. So a 45 degree family, or pi over 4 family. So here, this becomes sine is now 1/2 divided by cosine is radical 3 over 2. This now can be written as 1/2 times 2 over radical 3. The 2's do cross out, so we're left with 1 over radical 3, and we need to rationalize this. We never, ever want to leave radicals in our denominator. So this becomes radical 3 over 3. All right, now I just want to throw this one in. It is a negative radian measure. So remember what that means. If we were looking at pi over 2, that would be right up here at 90 degrees, but negative pi over 2 means we're going this way, so we're down here. So that's the same as negative 90 degrees. What's the ordered pair here? 0, -1. So here we would have sine -1 divided by 0. So there that is again, that I mentioned earlier, -1 over 0 is undefined. Let's just try one more. Let's do tangent of 5 pi over 4. So it is a pi over 4 radian measure. We're in that family. Since 5 is 1 larger than our denominator, 4, that puts us in the third quadrant. We're right in the middle of the third quadrant. What is this ordered pair? They're both negative, so these are both negative radical 2 over 2. So this becomes sine divided by cosine, negative radical 2 over 2, divided by negative radical 2 over 2. Now, since they're both the same numbers, what do you get anytime you divide a number by itself? 1. But we could still show it this way. The negative radical 2 over 2 times a reciprocal, 2 over negative radical 2. So the 2's cross out, negative radical 2's cross out. We're left with 1's everywhere. So this is 1. All right, so off of today's worksheet, you're not doing every problem. 1 through 10, 12, 16, 18 through 20, and number 30. So what's going to happen next week is I'm pretty much taking a previous review for the trigonometry unit, and I'm turning it into a graded assignment. So you'll have 3, maybe even onto Thursday, but everyone should finish maybe on Wednesday. 60 problems. Now you still have to show work. If a problem requires work, and you don't show work but you have an answer, it's not going to count. Every problem is just worth a point, and the entire problem has to be correct, including the work. There's no partial credit, which means I want you to take your time on this. Go back and look at your notes. If you need to go back and watch some of the videos, you can too. For the remote students, I think they're collecting Chromebooks maybe Wednesday into Thursday, so you still have time to hold on to your Chromebooks. So there's going to be a graded assignment starting on Monday, and the latest you could turn it in is on Thursday. If you get finished with it sooner, that's fine. You can turn that in. So more information will come on that once I have that posted on Monday. Please let me know if you have any questions over exact values.